Most men think affairs are obvious, that they come with clear signs. Late nights, suspicious texts, unexplained absences, lipstick on the collar, the clichés we see in movies. But real infidelity, the kind executed by intelligent women who have something to lose, looks nothing like that. It's invisible. It's seamless. It's woven so perfectly into normal life that you'd never suspect a thing. Today, we're exposing 8 cold, calculated tactics women use to hide affairs. These aren't amateur moves. These are expert-level deception strategies rooted in psychology, tested through experience, and devastatingly effective. Once you understand these tactics, you'll see patterns you've been trained to ignore. You'll recognize manipulation you've been conditioned to accept, and you'll never be blindsided again. If this matters to you, hit that like and hype buttons, subscribe and turn on notifications. And if anything here sounds familiar, drop a comment saying, "My instincts were right," because sometimes your gut knows before your mind does. Let's dive in. Tactic 1. The routine overload. The first tactic is brilliant in its simplicity. She doesn't create chaos to hide her affair. She creates predictability. She builds such a rigid, consistent routine that any deviation seems completely justified when it happens. She conditions you to expect certain patterns, and then she operates within those patterns so smoothly that nothing ever seems suspicious. She goes to the gym every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. She has book club every other Wednesday. She has girls' night every Friday. Yoga on Sunday mornings. These aren't random activities. They're scheduled alibis. Time blocks where her absence is expected, normalized, and never questioned. And within those time blocks, she does whatever she wants. The psychology here is about establishing baseline behavior. When something becomes routine, it stops registering as noteworthy. Your brain doesn't flag it. You don't ask questions about things that happen consistently. They just become part of the background noise of life. She's not at home Tuesday evening. Of course not. It's gym night. She's been going for months. Why would you question it now? But here's what you don't know. She goes to the gym. She checks in. She takes a photo in her workout clothes. She posts it to her story. And then she leaves 20 minutes later to meet him. The gym was never the destination. It was the cover story. The routine was never about fitness. It was about freedom. The brilliance of this tactic is that it creates a false sense of security. You think you know where she is and what she's doing because she's told you 100 times. The repetition breeds trust. The consistency breeds complacency. And complacency is exactly what she needs to operate undetected. Behavioral psychologists call this predictability as camouflage. The more predictable someone is, the less you monitor them. The more routine their behavior, the less suspicious you become. She's not hiding in randomness. She's hiding in plain sight, behind a wall of perfectly constructed normalcy. Tactic 2. The emotional investment increase. Here's something that will mess with your head. When some women start affairs, they don't pull away from you. They move closer. They become more affectionate, more attentive, more invested in the relationship than they've been in years. And it completely throws you off because you're thinking, if she's cheating, shouldn't she be distant? Not always. Not if she's smart. Because distance raises questions. Coldness triggers suspicion. But increased warmth, increased affection, that makes you feel secure. That makes you think everything is better than ever. That makes you drop your guard completely. She's more adventurous in bed. She compliments you more. She laughs at your jokes again. She wants to spend quality time together. She's suddenly interested in your hobbies, your work, your thoughts. You think, we're reconnecting, we're finding each other again. This is amazing. But what's really happening is guilt management and strategic distraction. The affair gives her a dopamine rush, a sense of excitement and novelty. and that elevated emotional state spills over into her interactions with you. She's happier because she's getting her needs met elsewhere, and ironically, that happiness makes her a better partner to you. But it's not because she loves you more, it's because she's getting fulfilled by someone else. There's also the guilt factor. When a woman with a conscience cheats, she experiences cognitive dissonance. Her actions conflict with her self-image. She sees herself as a good person, but she's doing something bad. To resolve that dissonance, she overcompensates. She treats you better to prove to herself that she's not a bad partner. She invests more to balance the betrayal. It's psychological self-soothing disguised as love. Relationship therapists call this compensatory intimacy. It's one of the most confusing signs of infidelity because it looks like the opposite of what you'd expect. And that's exactly why it works. You're so focused on enjoying the renewed connection that you never think to question where it's coming from. You never ask why she suddenly became the woman you've been wanting her to be. You just accept it. Grateful, unsuspecting, blind. Tactic 3. The digital fortress with visible cracks. She locks down her phone completely. Passwords, Face ID, notifications off, always face down, always in her possession, never left unattended. This is standard affair protocol. But here's where she gets clever. She doesn't make her phone completely inaccessible. She makes it look protected but occasionally gives you controlled access. Calculated glimpses that seem to prove she has nothing to hide. She'll hand you her phone to show you a photo, but she's already made sure there's nothing suspicious in her recent photos. She'll ask you to check a message for her while she's driving, but she's already deleted any conversations that matter. She'll leave her phone on the counter while she showers, but she's already logged out of the apps she uses to communicate with him. This is advanced psychological manipulation. If her phone was completely off limits, you'd wonder why. You'd get suspicious. You'd feel like she's hiding something. But by giving you occasional access, she creates the illusion of transparency. You think, if she had something to hide, she wouldn't let me see her phone at all. But what you're seeing is a carefully curated version of her digital life, a sanitized display, evidence that's been scrubbed clean. She also uses decoy behaviors. She'll complain about spam calls or annoying group texts. She'll show you funny memes or frustrating work emails. She gives you reasons why she's on her phone so much that have nothing to do with him. She normalizes constant phone use so that when she's texting him right in front of you, you assume it's just more of the same mundane digital noise. Then there's the secondary device strategy. Many women conducting affairs don't rely on one phone. They have a second one. An old phone they keep for emergencies. A work phone that's just for professional contacts. A tablet they use for reading and browsing. These devices hold the real evidence. And you never think to check them because she's already shown you her main phone and it seemed clean. Cybersecurity experts and private investigators note that digital infidelity has evolved. It's no longer about hiding the phone entirely. It's about creating a false digital trail that looks innocent while the real communication happens in encrypted apps, secondary devices, or platforms you'd never think to monitor. She's not stupid, she's strategic, and her phone security isn't paranoia. It's protection of evidence you'll never see. Tactic 4. The accusation projection. Out of nowhere, she starts accusing you of cheating. Not aggressively, not constantly, but enough that it becomes a recurring theme. She makes comments about a female coworker. She questions why you were late coming home. She gets suspicious when you're on your phone. She asks if you're still attracted to her or if there's someone else, and you're confused, defensive, maybe even insulted, because you're not doing anything wrong. You're faithful, you're committed, you're transparent. So why is she suddenly acting like you're the one with something to hide? Here's why. Because she is. And projecting that guilt onto you serves multiple psychological purposes. First, it redirects attention. When you're busy defending yourself against false accusations, you're not paying attention to her behavior. The focus shifts from her to you, from her potential infidelity to your perceived untrustworthiness. She controls the narrative by making you the suspect. Second, it preemptively neutralizes your suspicions. If you ever start to question her, she can point back to these moments and say, "You're just paranoid. You've been accusing me of stuff too. This is just more of your insecurity." She creates a pattern of mutual suspicion that makes your legitimate concerns seem like continuation of irrational jealousy. Third, it alleviates her guilt. By convincing herself that you might be cheating too, or at least capable of it, she justifies her own behavior. "He's probably doing the same thing," or "all men cheat anyway," or "I'm just evening the score." It's not rational, but guilt rarely is. Projection helps her sleep at night. Psychologists call this defensive projection. It's a classic manipulation tactic where the guilty party accuses others of the behavior they're engaging in. It's not just about deflection, it's about creating a psychological environment where truth becomes murky, where everyone seems suspicious, where your legitimate intuition gets lost in manufactured noise. If she's suddenly worried about your faithfulness when she never was before, it's not because you changed, it's because she did, and she's projecting her betrayal onto you to manage her own conscience and keep you off her trail. Tactic 5. The over-explanation protocol. When she gets home late, she doesn't just say traffic was bad. She gives you a full narrative, every detail, every stop, every reason. She tells you about the meeting that ran long, the coworker who needed help, the detour because of construction, the stop at the store for milk even though you didn't ask for any. It's thorough, it's specific, it sounds completely believable. And that's the problem. Innocent people don't over-explain. They don't feel the need to. They give simple, direct answers because they have nothing to hide. But liars, especially skilled ones, provide excessive detail to make their stories more convincing. They believe that more information equals more credibility, and often they're right. Because detailed stories feel true even when they're not. She's memorized her alibis, rehearsed them, thought through potential questions you might ask, and prepared answers. When you ask where she was, she doesn't hesitate. She doesn't fumble. She launches into a pre-packaged explanation that covers every possible angle. It's smooth, too smooth, but you don't notice because you're not trained to recognize that smoothness as a red flag. The other tell is consistency without flexibility. Her story stays exactly the same every time she tells it. Word for word, detail for detail. No natural variation. No, "Oh wait, I think it was Thursday, not Wednesday" corrections that happen when people recall genuine memories. Her narrative is locked because it's fiction, and fiction needs to stay consistent or it falls apart. She also uses verifiable details as anchors. She mentions things that actually happened. The meeting did run long. She was at that store. Your mutual friend did text her. These true elements are woven into the false narrative to give it structure and believability. It's not a complete lie. It's truth mixed with deception in such a careful ratio that you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Forensic psychologists who study deception note that over-explanation is one of the most reliable indicators of dishonesty, especially when it's unprompted. If you didn't ask for a detailed explanation and she gave you one anyway, ask yourself why. What is she defending against? What question did she answer that you didn't ask? Because people who over-explain are usually protecting something, and the more detail they provide, the bigger the lie they're covering. Tactic 6. The social circle restructure. Suddenly, her friend group changes. Not completely, not obviously, but enough that you notice new names coming up, new people she's spending time with, new social circles she's entering. And when you ask about them, her answers are vague. Just some people from work. Friends of friends. I met them through that class I'm taking. What's really happening is that she's building a secondary social ecosystem, a group of people who know about him, or at least won't question her behavior when she's with him. These new friends aren't your friends. They've never met you. They don't know you as a couple. And that's intentional, because if they don't know you, they can't accidentally expose her. She also starts distancing from friends who are loyal to you or to the relationship. The couple friends you both hang out with, she sees them less. Your sister, who she used to be close with. Suddenly there's tension. Friends who would call her out or ask hard questions. They're slowly phased out, replaced with people who either don't know better or don't care. This restructuring serves another purpose. It creates alibis. When she says she's with her new friend Sarah, you can't verify it. You don't have Sarah's number. You've never met Sarah. For all you know, Sarah doesn't exist. Or Sarah exists but isn't actually with her. Or Sarah exists and knows about the affair and covers for her. Any of these scenarios are possible, and you have no way to confirm which is true. She might also introduce you to some of these new friends specifically to throw you off. You meet Sarah once at a party. She seems nice. Now, when your partner says she's with Sarah, you picture an actual person. You trust it more. But what you don't know is that, with Sarah, means they had coffee for an hour before she left to see him for the rest of the night. Social psychologists call this network manipulation for alibi construction. By controlling who knows what and who has access to whom, she creates a social structure that supports her deception. Her new friends might not even know they're being used. They think they're just hanging out with her. They don't realize they're providing cover for something else entirely. And you, isolated from this new social circle, have no way to see through the construction. Tactic 7. The intimacy pattern disruption. Your intimate life changes, but not in the way you'd expect if she was cheating. It doesn't necessarily decrease. Sometimes it increases. Sometimes it becomes more adventurous. She tries new things, suggests new positions, initiates more often. And you think, this is great, our intimacy is improving. But what you don't realize is that she's bringing home techniques, desires, and energy from someone else. But there's another pattern too. Sometimes the intimacy becomes mechanical. She's physically present, but emotionally absent. After she's been with him, she comes home and initiates with you. Not because she wants you, but because she's trying to erase the evidence, both physical and psychological. She's showering away his scent and replacing it with yours. She's overwriting one intimate experience with another. She's performing loyalty to cover betrayal. You might also notice inconsistencies. Things she never liked before, she suddenly enjoys. Things she always wanted, she no longer requests. Her preferences shift in ways that don't make sense based on your history together. The key is that authentic evolution in a relationship happens gradually, through communication, through shared experiences. But when it changes abruptly, when new elements appear without context or conversation, the source of that change is often external. Someone else is teaching her. Someone else is awakening parts of her that she's bringing into your bedroom. And you're experiencing the affair secondhand without even knowing it. Tactic 8. The strategic truth-telling. This is the most psychologically sophisticated tactic. She tells you the truth, strategically, selectively, in ways that seem like full disclosure but are actually calculated admissions designed to prevent deeper investigation. She volunteers information before you ask for it, creating the impression that she's transparent and honest, when really she's controlling exactly what you know. She mentions that a male co-worker texted her. She shows you the message. It's friendly but innocent. What she doesn't tell you is that there are 100 other messages she deleted. She admits she had lunch with someone from work. She even tells you it was a man. She describes the conversation, the food, the restaurant. What she doesn't tell you is what happened after lunch, or that this wasn't the first time, or that coworker is a very loose description of their actual relationship. By telling partial truths, she accomplishes multiple things. She appears honest. She preempts your potential discovery of these facts. She controls the narrative by revealing information on her terms, framed in her context. And she creates a false baseline of transparency that makes you trust her overall story, even though crucial details are missing. She might even admit to feelings. I think that guy at the gym was flirting with me. My boss has been kind of inappropriate lately. I ran into my ex and it was awkward. These admissions seem like honesty, like she's sharing her experiences with you, like she's being vulnerable and transparent. But what she's really doing is testing the waters, gauging your reaction, seeing how much you can handle so she knows how much she can get away with. This tactic also provides plausible deniability later. If you ever discover something, she can say, "I told you about him. I mentioned we were talking. I never hid that we were friends. You knew he existed." She reframes full-blown affairs as friendships you already knew about. She makes your discovery of betrayal seem like your misunderstanding of information you already had. The most dangerous lies aren't the ones that are completely false. They're the ones that are mostly true.